Here we go. I probably should do that beforehand because it says this meeting is being recorded when you enter the room. all professional like. So I'll do it now. This meeting is being recorded. So how is everybody today?
Happy to be here instead of work.
Right? I know. I love that this isn't work for either of us, like, because we love it. You know, that's when you know when you're doing something right. So I thought today, so our theme this month is living your truth. So we talked about speaking your truth a lot. We talked about finding your voice last month. And this one is, we're highlighting the whole living your truth. So at this point, it's kind of like, let's look back and see what have we been working on? What are some things that we pulled out that maybe we realized over the last few months as we were kind of going through this more internal phase. And now we've kind of switched into the, you know, the spring, summer, let's get out there and do the things and let's put some action behind some of the things that we're talking about, which is what this is about, the living your truth. So we're putting now action behind all of those things that we were really kind of digging in and squishing around to see what we wanted to work on. So we're going to work with some clay today. And we're going to make essentially a little talisman for us to, whether you want to make a piece of jewelry or you want to have it just kind of sit on your desk or whatever, but we're going to make something for us that is kind of a visual representation of what we want to bring into the world every day. And we can go about this a few different ways. So I thought, while we're kind of like, I'm going to get my clay out and start squishing it around and everything, because I like it to be really malleable when I'm using it. So I thought we would kind of talk through some stuff while we're squishing clay around and
Yes.
and doing the things, which is kind of like what we're doing in life anyway, right? We even when we think, yeah, we've got it and we're living our truth and we're going out into the world, really we're still kind of always just smushing it around in our hands and seeing if it still feels right? Getting it to that malleable stage. So I'm gonna grab, so this is the clay that I like to use.
Yeah, they didn't have it. I found this one.
Oh, that's a nice one too. I like the texture of that one. I utilize that one as well. I have that in my little bag of tricks as well.
How much do we need?
Well, that kind of depends on you. So I would intuitively grab what you think you're going to want to create in size. I would think you probably, you know, this is probably the most that you'll utilize, I would think, but you may want to go more than that. I'm probably going to end up with half of that is what I'm thinking, but I'll probably get a chunk of it to play around with. Because it's going to just depend on how you lay it out. So as we're doing this, is there anything, because I thought we'd kind of also talk through specifically if there's some specifics that you've been working through and working on that you wanted to kind of talk through, because what we're going to do is we're going to pull like symbolism from it. So I'm kind of taking the same approach as when I create sigils. And when I'm creating sigils, I use just simplistic lines and shapes and easy visual representations of specific things to show movement or to show, you know, something being enclosed or open. We're going to kind of utilize those types of things, as well as if there's a specific like totem, you know, if it's a snake is calling you for some reason, you know, then we'll, you know, we can utilize that as well. So we're going to kind of go pull that out. But what I'd like to talk about is where you kind of feel that you are now and what you're bringing into your everyday. Like, what's that part of your essential core being that you've been working on, you know, over the past 3 to 6 months even, that you have now kind of made it a part of your everyday, or you're kind of working through that and bringing it more into your everyday. I'm gonna pull my little chunk of clay out while you guys think about that for a minute. And this, depending on what you have for your clay, this can be a functional item too. So you can create, you know, a little dish that we can carve the symbols in, we can attach the symbols to. You can do the dish in a shape of something specific as we're doing it. So it can be a functional item. It doesn't have to be just like a, you know, like I said, a snake or whatever. Like it can be a functional thing. And Lori, the clay that you have can be painted at the end. I'm not sure what you're using, Shannon.
I'm using the stuff that you said.
Oh, nice. I'd be curious to see. I really like this one. This actually, that right there, that's what I made the Reiki stones with.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and then I treat them, you know, do a bunch of treatments to it afterwards, and the painting and the sealant and all that type of stuff as well. But so you can also utilize a little bit of water with your clay if you want to, if you're feeling like it's not you're not getting the feel and the texture that you want. You add a little bit of water to it, and that'll give you some more fluidity when you're doing it. And I just utilize, I mean, I have a scoop, an old scoop right here, and I just kind of fill a little bit with water. And then I use a little sponge sometimes if I want to get a little bit of water on there. But I'm very hands-on, so I tend to dip my fingers. So I kind of could do I dip my fingers in, and then I kind of rub it on there.
Well, I just happen to have wet paintbrushes.
That works.
Working on my Buddha for the past hour. I thought I was done. And when I took the pictures and I was getting ready to post it, I was like, oh, there's all this dark area. And then of course, when I went in to go fix it, I wouldn't say I messed it up. It just didn't fix it like I wanted to. So literally the past hour I've been working on this Buddha, and he's hanging up now. And I'm like, dude, right now, that's where you are.
I mean, that's a little Buddha all in itself right there, though.
Acceptance.
Yeah.
Well, and so, but this Buddha, it was originally when I was doing that work with Ramona on the chakras, like 6 weeks intense chakra work, with the archetype chakra book. One of the archetypes was Silent Child, and I had painted a silent child who was really sad and blah, blah, blah. And then she became this really happy angel. Well, she told me she wanted to be a Buddha. So this underneath this Buddha is her. And she's pretty cheeky. And she's like, I don't like it. Keep working. Just like,
I love that.
But I don't really, I mean, I'm just learning, you know, I'm just learning how to paint. And so, but I get frustrated and I have to keep reminding myself, how long have you been doing Reiki? How long have you been doing EFT? How long have you been doing all these other modalities? A long time. And how did you, you know, how comfortable are you with them now? Right. So you can't just think you're going to pick up a paintbrush and paint 5 canvases and think that, you know, it's you know, it's going to be exactly what you want.
Right.
Very true.
So anyway.
Yeah, and I like that that's awareness, right? You're just aware of where you are and where you're, you know, where you've put the time into it, and knowing that, you know, the painting is something that you love to do. You're also doing it very intuitively, as opposed to, you know, doing it you know, taking specific courses on, you know, all of the different things. You're doing it, you're ripping it out of your soul, you know, while you're doing this, which is a very, you know, specific way of painting too. So some of that that struggle comes out on the paper, right?
Definitely.
Good way to put it. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So is there anything that either of you want to share in terms of what it is that you would like to bring out into the world so that you're visually looking at this?
I've been looking at how do I just acknowledged I'm so tired.
Hey, that's your truth right now.
I'm so tired. And I know I had my surgery a month or so ago, and I've had the vaccines, which is throwing off my body too. But underneath all of that is just years and years of pushing hard through working and not
Yep.
resting enough. So my big push, which I shouldn't be pushing, it's got to be allowing. But what I'm working on is how do I bring more just rest that I can appreciate in my day or in my week. So I was looking at retreats today. I
Nice.
made a weekend for that. But I don't even know how to rest. So this is like an exploration, you know.
Well, you're doing it right now.
Yes.
So recognize that this is resting. You know, and that's a big reason why I kind of switched modalities really. Because the power of art hit so many check boxes with me. And it made me realize how important it is to actually take those pauses, because I was like you, I was going all the time. I didn't take breaks. I worked multiple jobs. I did whatever I needed to do to get things done. I was type A, go, go, go. I mean, I enjoyed life, and I did, you know, I did take pauses or vacations and things like that. And I would notice things, but it wasn't to the extent that I do now, where I will delay things in my day. You know, I have somewhere to be, but I'm walking out the door and I notice that, you know, the cows have stopped progression because they all want to turn their head and look and have a nice chat, you know. So I stop and I have a nice little chat with the cows, take an extra 5 minutes, and then I'm on my way, right? So that's that. And integrated pauses where I've just now made it a part of my life, where, you know, where I do that. So I understand the struggle. And when you're in a situation where you're, you know, you're the sole provider, you know, that's a lot of pressure as well that you know, that you have to deal with. So in terms of pausing, so I would, so it's pausing, it's resting, but it's more allowing space for things to develop, right? So it's not pushing through, it's not having to have all the answers or to have, you know, everything laid out and have an agenda, or just collapsing because you've been, you know, running out day to day to day to day, and then you just have that one break where, okay, I'm going to do all the things, or I'm going to collapse, one or the other. So maybe look for ways to, throughout the course of the day, take the little pauses. So, you know, thinking of maybe natural elements that would signify something that is slower paced or more intentional.
Right.
You know, is there an animal or a tree or like something that you see? I know there's that, like that bush in your yard that does the flowering, like, you know, is that specific flower stopping to notice and enjoy, and, you know, look, so is that something that might make you, you know, stop and pause and thoughts? I would think about that kind of stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. Yep.
What about you, Shannon? Anything jumping out?
Well, what I've been working on a lot in the last 2 months is cutting cords of things that are no longer for my highest good.
Yep.
And some things are super easy. Some things are just like, you know, I've been able to just, and I don't know if I told y'all this the last time, but I even had a little altar where I have a cord and I have little pieces of paper, And then I have this beautiful box that used to be my sister-in-law's. And so I'll write down on the piece of paper what I'm trying to cut, and then I'll cut a piece of cord, and then I'll put it in the box. And I meant to burn them on the full moon, but I didn't. Anyway, they're still sitting there for me to burn. But I still am, I'm very attentive about sometimes the cord is just like a little snippet, and sometimes it's a long cord, like, it's 3/4 of it. I'm having to put multiple cords, and I'm finding a couple things that, again, like my brother was starting to creep into my life again in a not good way. And I was like, and then he betrayed me. I guess I could say it that way. And I was like, I'm done. I cannot put energy into someone anymore that is not going to give back. Okay. I mean, I will help him. I mean, it's been 3 years since Estelle died, my sister-in-law, right?
Mhm.
And I always told him I will help. But it's just, there's no giving back. Okay. It's still, woe is me. Yes, it's very upsetting. Yes, I understand that. But, I don't understand how you can just be so happy and live life. I'm like, because that's my job. That's my job on earth, is to be joy, is to try to spread it. And yeah, I have my days and I have my moments, and sometimes I have my weeks, but that's not who I am, right? But I read something the other day that somebody had thrown on Facebook about, that each soul has their own journey. And I know this. And maybe it's not his journey to be joyful, and maybe it's not his journey to be happy. Okay. I'm here if you want to take that step, but I can't keep doing that. Anyway, he did that betrayal to me, and it was just like, so now I'm continuously still having to cut that cord, because I'm thinking, because me, always the optimist, I just cut the cord once, I'm done. Right?
Yeah.
Because that's just me. I eat one piece of broccoli, I'll be skinny and healthy the rest of my life, right?
Right.
So that's, but I've also noticed that sometimes I don't even have to go to the altar and do it. I can just think about it and imagine it in my head, and it's just that's no longer with me, But family, I think, is a little bit harder.
Absolutely.
It's just that's what it is, and I don't know that. So yeah, and then of course today Caden did not take a nap, so it was. I usually get 2 to 3 hours in the afternoon. When he takes a nap, I had 30 minutes. I was like, yeah. So I was like, you know what, dude? You're just gonna have to play by yourself while I have my Zoom call for my painting, people. And he did pretty good. I mean, because he could see himself on screen, and he would, but still, it wasn't like I could just totally immerse. But anyway, I'm gonna have 3 months off, kind of. I probably only once the end of September, Chelsea has the baby girl. Yay, Cora. Then I'll probably only have Caden like twice a week, and that's because he needs to have somewhere to run around and get away from, Anyway, that's what I'm working on: cutting cords and just releasing things that no longer serve, so that I can use that energy for things that do.
Well, and that's what I was just going to suggest, is that when you're cutting the cord and you're releasing, because I'm with you on the, the optimism. You're like, okay, done. I've cut this and I'm moving on. What I've learned for myself is that I have to cut specific cords. So and sometimes the cord is with something else or someone else, but it's also something I'm releasing along with that specifically. And then the flip side of that is what I'm stepping towards. So it's kind of like twofold for me now. So I'm saying, okay, this is something I no longer want in my life. I need to remove it. And sometimes it's my own self thinking about something, or, you know, going back over something or whatever. And I yell at myself, what are you doing? Stop doing that. I don't want, and then I say out loud, like, I don't want to do this anymore. Right. So I take control over it and announce what it is that I want. And then, you know, do the, you know, the ritualistic things as well. But then when I'm doing that, I replace it. So I'm releasing this, but I'm replacing it with an opposite behavior or thought process. So that it's because the reason behind that is the scientific way that your brain works. And I don't know how to say this the right way, but essentially you know, that whole thing, that what you focus on grows, and, you know, all of that, like, you know, that's all based on science. If I tell you to not think about something, you know, you're gonna think about that thing. Like, you just can't. You can't not, right? So cord cutting is a little bit like the I can't not. You're getting rid of something that you don't want by thinking about the thing that you don't want. So if you make that announcement and then give your brain something else to do with that space. So now you're thinking about the new thing that you want to do. So if you no longer, you know, you're trying to release your brother, you know, from coming into your space. So it doesn't even have to be anything to do with your brother, but it can be, I'm now going to this. So I'm going to have more time for this, or I'm going to focus on this. So like for you, it might be one time you do the release for him, but then when you find yourself kind of falling back into that, then you pick the thing that you're focusing on. So I'm going to spend an extra, you know, 20 minutes and study a new technique for acrylic paint, or I'm going to study a new technique for watercolor, or, you know, I'm going to see how to, I'm going to look up a new cord cutting, you know, technique. You know, it can even be that. But you're physically making your brain think about something other than the thing you're trying to cut.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yes, that totally makes sense.
That's been helping me a little bit. And it was one of those kind of aha moments, because I have lived my life with the whole, you know, what you focus on grows. So I'm going to focus on the thing that I want. I'm going to manifest that in. I'm going to, you know, bring that positivity in. But then, you know, when you're in the thick of something and you're dealing with it, you know, I also am, you know, I'm Virgo. So I will beat that up quite a bit and go over it, and, you know, and get to the point where I've demolished it. So now it's done. Like I go into it hard, like I do. Oh, it's Maisie girl. Hey, Maisie girl.
Are they talking to you? Yes.
Hey, Maisie girl. A little tail wagging, I can still see it.
I know.
It's such a sweet thing.
I
But yeah,
see.
I was falling into that trap myself. So I started to replace. So not just cut, but cut and replace.
Okay. That's a good idea. That makes sense.
I'm also
Yeah, it was the revelation. I was like, oh yes, I used to do this. Why did I stop doing that? Like I don't know. What were you gonna say, Lori?
No, I was just thinking about cutting in general, because cords are two ways, right? It's them, you know, invading our energy space, but also we are allowing them in. So there's like a, I don't know if gift is the right word, but there's something that we all get out of those attachments. So sometimes before letting them go, you have to understand what you're holding on to so that you can release yourself from it. So it's not dependent on the other person as much as where you are with it. But if you're not understanding why it's there in the first place, it might be hard to distract from it. But I hear what you're saying. It's important to not hang on to it any longer than necessary.
No, but you're right. Understanding why understanding the
Just
why.
even just asking the question, even if you don't know the answer, it doesn't come right away. As long as you're asking, your being is going to work towards that answer, and that's going to help you release that naturally, you know.
Right. Yeah. I mean, to me, the why is, I mean, he's my brother, and he's,
But
Mhm.
underneath that is maybe, loyalty, or there's something,
oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
emotionally that may need some attention or something, or, because that's the piece that needs to be let go of, whatever that is, the guilt or I'm not sure. I'm speculating because I don't know the story.
No, that makes
Have to go
sense.
there.
No, no, that totally makes sense. He remembers a lot more of our childhood than I do, but then I have always lived in la la land. I just always have, everything's good. And yeah, so but he's continually living in that, it's just, that's all he talks about is our childhood. And it's like, dude, I'm almost 60 years old. I've had 2 kids and I've got a grandchild. I can't, that's not who I am anymore.
Right.
I mean, there's still that inner child in me, but I know I can't dwell on that. I can't even dwell on what happened yesterday. I have to,
Right.
move forward.
Yeah.
And but again, so and maybe I do, when he's talking, maybe I do feel a little guilty, like that I don't carry all that. He carried so much on his shoulders from our childhood, and I never did. I never carried any of it, and maybe
And that's okay.
yeah, because I certainly carry enough of the family crap now, so trying not to do that either. But I'm the matriarch of the family, so
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
that's where I got Buddha.
Yes, yes.
Just gonna hand it over to Buddha now. Okay, Buddha.
Right.
There you go. Yep.
Well, and if you unpack that a little bit, again, I also don't know the specifics behind it all and all of that.
Yeah.
But if I'm looking at it in terms of, just kind of surfacey, a lot of times we're thinking those things and we don't say things out loud, so even something as simple as, we're not there anymore. That's over. That childhood thing is over. So now we have a choice to decide, what we're going to focus on. And your truth and how you live your truth is you live in the moment. You step into and embrace the moment. You don't hold on to the past and dwell there. Whereas he is still dwelling there and running through scenarios and going through the feelings and all of that. Whereas for you, you're done. You're beyond that. You're in this space now. And maybe that's part of it is, you want him to be in this space with you, but he's not. So part of your truth is also understanding that he's in a different place and that's his choice. And so if you can find the words to explain to him, what your definition of it is and why, you're in this space, then you can invite him to be in there with you, and then now that's a choice for him, whether or not he wants to step into that. Again, without knowing all of the.
Yeah.
His pain is not your fault or your responsibility.
Yeah.
I know it sounds great logically, but emotionally, I have trouble with that one myself.
Right.
No. Oh, sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Makes-
So as we're talking, are there any symbols or shapes that, and also clay is one of those things that you just start playing with it and you're like, oh, look what I just did. You have no idea that how it got there, which is one of the reasons I like to utilize it. I feel like it's such an intuitive process. You're just like, oh, cool, I made this. But has anything started to formulate in either your hands or your brain?
So at first I thought it was a fish, okay, but now, and then I was using the water from my, paintbrushes, and
Yeah.
I just put some over, and now he's brown. But now he's kind of reminds me of a little dragon. I don't know, but
Oh,
I see things anyway, but
Yes. No, I see
I'm
it.
and I'm just like, oh well, that's interesting. A dragon
Hmm.
just with one puff can burn away whatever they don't want.
Right? Just one dragon breath and you
one dragon breath, and that it's done. It's okay. I can go back to sleep now.
right?
Again, there's that one piece of broccoli. Okay, I'm healthy now. Right?
Right? Exactly. How are you coming over there, Laura? You got anything that's starting to show light?
I don't know. I just keep playing. So it's like a little bowl with little
Oh,
things.
nice. Yeah.
I've never
Yeah.
worked with clay, so I'm just kind of goofing. I don't know.
Yeah. I would, and if you're playing with this and you're like, I'm not done with it. I need to put it back in. It is air dry clay, so you want to make sure you get it back in. So what I do is I fold it all up, I wrap it up in some tin foil, and then I put that inside a plastic bag, as nice sealed Ziploc bag, and then I put that in a box. So it's 4 layers of stuff basically.
Gotcha. Yeah.
As I'm playing. But maybe your talisman is the unmolded clay right now. Maybe that's
Right.
maybe that's what your truth is right now, is that you're not sure. You're just needing to play and to be in that space.
Yeah. That is definitely true. It's the unknown, so I feel like it's not something I'm gonna think of. It's gonna be something I'm just noticing in myself doing. So I just have to try a bunch of stuff.
Right, exactly. And that's life, right? Just try a bunch of stuff. I was thinking about that the other day. So I was watching these birds. I probably should look it up and see what kind of birds they are. They're like cranes with the long legs and that type of thing. And earlier this year, and I may have even talked about it here, earlier this year, I caught them out there doing this crazy jump up and down dance thing, and they're squawking away and they're like bouncing up and down. And I had to get video of it because I was like, what in the world is going on out there? And then I was speaking to a friend of mine, and she said, oh yeah, that's their mating dance that they're doing. She's like, there's going to be later in the year, there'll be a couple of little babies out there with them. And so sure enough, they're strolling on down with their little babies the other day, right? And there are 4 of them out there. And they're birds, they can fly, but they're not flying. They're meandering. They're just walking through, they're doing the thing. And then at one point they got to a fence at the end of wherever they were walking, and they went right back. They just flew over the fence and then right back down, and then they meandered some more, and it just got me thinking, like, these are birds, they have wings, they can go wherever they want, right? And every once in a while they'll soar, and they'll just, and I'm thinking, if I had wings, I'd be like flying all over the place, right? And soaring, doing the things. And I'm saying, there's a lesson in that they have a choice, they have an option to be zipping around and getting somewhere fast and doing all of that, but they're choosing to just meander, and go around. And so it just got me thinking, like, how much of that am I actually doing in my life, where I'm slowing down enough to really notice what's going on around me, and I'm not just gonna barreling through and saying, okay, I gotta do this now, I gotta do that. And even if the do this is a casual activity, right? You're on vacation. What do you want to do today? Nothing. Let's do nothing until we figure out something. And I go back to Winnie the Pooh, right? Have you ever seen any of the old Winnie the Pooh?
Not in a very long time. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's all about nothing. They just do something with nothing all the time, right? And I always thought that was the coolest thing as a kid, and I kind of forgot it growing up. And I don't know. That's my truth lately. That's where I've been, is just allowing the spaces.
Mhm.
And at the same time I'm doing that, I'm being conscious of what is mine and what is someone else's, because I've noticed that I've been, as strong and independent as I am as a person, I've been adapting my entire life for everyone around me, because I'm agreeable. So I'm just like, yeah, whatever, that's it. Because I like a lot of things. I'm like, I'll try a lot of things, whatever. So I tend to be the one who modifies most of the time, because other people don't.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm just like, whatever, it's not that big of a deal. I'll just modify. So what I've been doing to live my truth is to actually make sure that every time I'm doing something, if I'm doing it for someone else or modifying, I'm at least conscious about it. I'm not completely giving up myself to whatever it is this thing is. I'm standing, in what I need, which also means a lot more discovering and meandering, right? To figure out what those things are. And I'm saying no and yes more in the ways that you would think, like, no, I really don't want to do that right now.
So yes.
Yes.
I love it. I love it.
Art is so powerful.
Oh, I'm just having so much fun with it.
Yeah, it was I've been, playing with art my entire life, but for me, it was the one thing, art and magic really, but art was the one thing that kept me from just diving into the darkness and not coming back out with grief. It gave me a outlet. It gave me a place to process, but to do it in a way that was authentic and messy. Because grief is messy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes, it is.
And it's not something that just, stops.
No, again, it's been 3 years, but I still grieve over Estelle because she was my best friend and like the sister I never had. Although, I just messed up his feet. I have a spiritual relationship with her. I'm in contact with her that way.
Yeah.
And, but I am different than my brother for sure.
Yeah.
I just see things differently. Oh, okay. Yeah.
There's some little birds chirping like crazy out here right now.
Yeah. Ugh, they wake me up at like 5 in the morning some days.
Well, that's right. You're on the East Coast, right?
Yes.
It gets real bright there early, right?
Yes.
Like real
Yep.
early. I remember when, because my daughter did her master's up in Boston, and I drove her up there to find an apartment and stuff. And we were like, "What the hell? The sun's like coming up at 5:30." I'm like, "What?" Yeah.
Yeah, I used to grump about that kind of stuff. And now I just like, I watch. Just, like the sunset is gorgeous, and so I'm just, I don't know.
Yeah, it's just 5 in the morning's early. I'm glad my hair is long enough to cover my eyes. I can kind of like
Yeah.
adjust my hair to, yeah.
All right, we have 15 more minutes, just a little, figure a timeline it.
Don't like his front feet. There, that's probably a little. Oh no, now it looks like a wild pig. But it did give me an idea because the next thing on our lesson for Canvas is contrast. And I was going to paint a big butterfly or a lighthouse, but I think now I'm going to try a dragon.
There you go.
So I'm excited about that. I've never tried a dragon. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Go wrong with dragons.
It's just the thing is the freedom of the way that Whitney, who I'm following, is that you can paint over it, you know. I mean,
Yep.
like this next, like if I do the dragon, I know I've got 5 more things I'm going to paint over it, and so
Yeah.
there may be part of it that stays part of the dragon, and there may be like this picture of Estelle that I painted. I can still see a little bit of the waterfall and the feathers and some of the other stuff that I painted over. So, and it's all imbued in that painting. So super excited about the painting. I'm just getting so many different ideas of how it can help people. So anyway,
That's great. Oh,
that's my new obsession.
No, that's good.
good one. It's a good one.
Right?
Yeah. Trying to think how I could have flames come out of him.
They're like little triangles. So
Put a matchstick in there and light it.
now we're talking.
I would love it.
Now we're
That's
talking.
awesome.
Yeah.
Laura's like, we're just getting down to it. We're getting down to business. We're burn, baby, burn, right?
Blow that up.
Did you say chords? Wait, just a moment.
I know. I burned everything. I'm like, light it up.
Oh my gosh.
When my magic goes, is like if it's a deep thing, like it burns hot. Like it burns really hot. And I'm just like,
Yep.
Bring it.
So here's a kind of off topic, but you guys may be able to help me with this. So like every night I will do a prayer, you know, I say my gratitude prayers, and then I'll, you know, bring my energy back from anything that I've sent out, and then send anybody else's energy back, right?
Yep.
Well, I noticed that yesterday with Caden, I mean, something came to the house with him. Something, I mean, there, you know, so I included him in my prayer last night of, you know, any attachments, because they had a lot of different people at their house. Well, my daughter was on the line about what I do, right?
Yeah.
But he hasn't been sleeping the last 3 nights. Okay. And I'm like, I said, Chelsea, there's something in your house. I'm just telling you right now. There's an energy in your house that needs to be cleared. And she's like, well, I don't like to do sage. I'm like, well, that's fine. Just tell the energy that if you don't leave, I'm going to stick your mom on me. Okay. On you. Okay. And, you know, and that usually, I mean, I'm pretty tough on anything that comes in that's like, dude, you want to mess with me? You go on the light. Okay. That's your choice. Anyway, I kind of felt like, do I need to ask Caden's permission? I mean, he doesn't, because I did bring his angels and guides, and I'm like, listen, I just want to help. But I mean, he's only 18 months old. It's not like I can say, hey, can I clear you? You know,
Right.
I mean, what are your thoughts on something like that?
So
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, you can connect with their higher self sometimes, kind of work from that angle, and kind of get permission there. You're not offering anything that's going to impede their growth. You know, you're coming at it from a loving perspective. And you could just say that, just like we say, as it's in your highest good, it's also in their, as it's in their highest good too. So you're not,
Yeah.
not doing harm by offering something loving. And if they, in their highest good, their energy body doesn't want that, or it doesn't match, you're already stating that, let it go. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's getting close to 9. I run out of words at 9, so
No,
treacherous
I completely-
time right now.
So to double back, I would recommend if there's energy that you need to expel from a space, just use words to expel it. Like I wouldn't word anything. I would be very clear and concise, and just say things like, you need to leave. You know, you know, just however it feels comfortable to you, but I wouldn't put it in a this is what I'm going to do scenario. I would more just tell them what they need to do. You need to leave. You know, the highest good portion of it, as in terms of Caden or anybody else, that's all. I do the same thing Lori does in terms of the highest good. Everything I do is for the highest good. I always ask permission of the person. If it's a child, you know, normally you'd ask the parent, and in this case, you're the grandmother. So you're doing it for his highest good. So I would just state that. And, you know, I personally believe that there are energies that will attach for various reasons. And I think that the younger that a person is, the easier it is for them to actually be connected to the energetic world. And to also potentially, if you believe in this, potentially remember past lives and those types of things as well. So they're more open, they're more engaged, they're essentially resonating resonating at a higher frequency. So they're more connected. So I mean, you can connect, I think, you know, with their spirits and guides and things like that as well. And I often ask my guides to assist. So, you know, I kind of go to, and I literally just talk to them like I talk to you. And I can hear them, you know, amused at me half the time. But I just talk normal. I actually did that today. I said, okay, I don't know if it's the fairies or if I lost this or what's going on, but if you guys could help me out and just get my lip gloss back, that would be great, because it's been like 2 weeks. I haven't seen it. I said that this morning, walking out the door, and at about 6:30 tonight, I found my lip gloss. It's been missing for 2 weeks. And I just went, thank you. Like, you know, and that's really what it is. It's just clear, concise, understanding. I don't control them. They don't control me. There's free will, all that stuff that's going on. There's no ultimatum. I can't pretend to know what's going on the other side. You know, I like to think I'm powerful, but like, I don't know, you know, what I can and cannot do in terms of my limits, but I know that I can say, okay, you need to go. This is not your space. You need to leave. Yeah, so I would just maybe be a little wary of how you're wording it to them. And for me personally, I think because you never know like what they're perceiving and how they're reacting, you know, to things. So you may have somebody, a spirit or whatever, that's not completely aware, you know, of what's going on and where they are, and they may be disoriented. Like, I mean, there's so many theories out there in terms of like how young the spirit is and like all these kinds of things. So like the less you say, the more concise, I think it's just better. My 2 cents. That took a really long time to say because also it's almost 9 o'clock. But I hope that helped. I've been, I don't know how or why, but I'm like making the arrowhead just the arrow, just the, wait, you can't see it.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
It didn't start out that way, but that's
Yeah.
what ended up happening.
Mhm.
Also, this happens.
Yeah, got a bit of that going
I
on.
should have warned you. I'm sorry. I'm so used to it that it didn't even dawn on me. So that's my bad. That's on me.
Not a worry. Don't worry.
I think that there's so many, just thinking about like, you know, the energy of things, and you know, everything we do, we're always talking about the energy of things, but just based on, you know, everybody has, I think, a different, how can I word this? So when I think about like color, so the color red,
Mhm.
when I was kind of learning about, you know, the different colors and how the eye works and all that, at some point during that, there was this realization that nobody really knows what red is. I have my version of red, but my version of red could be a completely different version of red than you both have. Right? So if you think of it like that, where every person has a totally different view on the world in every capacity, because there's nothing that there, even if we're sitting here and we're looking at the same flower on the table, we're not in exactly the same space. I'm 6 inches that way or 6 feet that way. We're looking at the same flower, we're seeing something different, right? So if you multiply that times absolutely everything that you come in contact with in this lifetime, and if you believe in it, every other lifetime that you're going to experience and that you've already experienced. And if you believe that energy works in its own space and time, right? So things, you know, so there's the theories that things are happening all at the same time. So there's so many different ways to do it and to look at it. And every time somebody says, do it that way, or what do you think? You should do it that way. That's a new way now, right? So we've added on to it. So this is where the intuition is so important, because if you can be quiet, if you can get to that space, and if you can slow down and you can find the ability to be in the moments, to notice and to hear and be able to see, then you're going to start picking all of those things up on your own. And you'll take in all the information from everyone else, but then you'll go, yeah, that doesn't quite resonate with me. There's something about that that's off. And then you'll take that and you'll modify it a different way. But I think we have to all meander like those birds, right?
Yeah.
We have to find ways to meander.
Yes,
Play with clay.
that is my yes.
Yes. And play with clay. Because
Play
it's
with play.
important,
Sure.
right? I mean, that was the main reason I wanted to play with clay today, was because it was the being in the moment, being in the space,
Mhm.
slowing down, because it's too, and Laura, you inspired me mostly to do it, because it's too easy to just grab a piece of paper and draw, or grab some paint and put it on a piece of paper and do. It's too easy to do that. If you're sitting there with a hunk of clay, you're like, what am I doing with this hunk of clay, right? And you have to like sit with it and mold it and play with it, right? And be a little bit of a kid and
Mhm.
and do the things. I'm making a weird arrow, but that's okay.
I have this weird bowl sort of, well, I don't know what it is.
It's a place to put all of the things that you don't need to do.
Right. There's a spiral in the center, so it's just gonna all evaporate.
I like it.
Like a teacup with no handle.
It's a what now?
I don't know. It's just got a base, so it looks like a teacup with no handle.
Oh, nice.
But inside is like a little,
It's cute.
It is cute.
like a,
I like it. And you can, like I said, if you're not quite done with it and you want to like play with it another day, then just you can moisten it a little bit, you know, before you put it in there, and then just put it back inside. That thing will fold up, so you can put that piece back in there gently. And then I would put another layer of aluminum foil if you've got it around it.
Yep.
Just an extra layer, and then go ahead and put that in a plastic bag, and that'll be good. I'm still playing with mine, but if I can.
oh, that's pretty cool.
That is neat.
I see. Yeah.
So I'm still playing with the shape and stuff of it, but it's just my reminder that you know, to just keep going, and the idea of the arrow where, you know, you have to pull back
Right.
before you let it go. You have to pull that back, and you have to pause for a second, and you have to focus on what it is that you actually want to shoot that arrow into.
Right.
And then, you know, and then let that go. And the spiral is, you know, just a reminder that I am constantly, you know, moving through time, moving through space, making adjustments, and but making those decisions now based on what is for my highest good, what is in my best interest. And for me, my discovery was the same thing that I've been saying. Like we built this thing, we talked about bringing joy forward, and that's what we're doing. And, you know, that was the passion behind both of us, you know, for both of us. And everything that I've done in my entire life has all been like walking towards, and this is before, you know, grief knocked me down, but has been walking towards, how can I have the most fun in this day? What can I do? How can I get the most out of this day? And I've traveled all over the world. I go on vacations. I do the, like I always say, I'll try anything once. Like I'll do the crazy stuff, you know, whatever. And I still play. I still hop in puddles. I still do, you know, I still do the stuff, right? You know, and look for the joy in all of those moments. But then I got caught up in all of that. I think that you're doing that, and you're also trying to survive, right? And trying to pivot. And okay, now I got to do this, and now I got to do that. And I got caught up in, you know, what is my purpose? What do I need to be doing? What is my purpose? This is this big thing that everybody talks about. What is my purpose? What is my purpose? What do I have to do? What do I have to do? And the other day I was like, my purpose is to have as much joy and fun on this planet while I am here as I can. And if I can help other people do that same thing, that's perfect. That's it. So that's what I'm doing now. So I'm like, does this bring me joy? Nope. Okay.
Right.
How can I make this more fun? How can I, you know? And sometimes it's not like, you know, joy, laughter, whatever. Sometimes the thing that's bringing me joy is I'm just sitting quietly reading a book or whatever. You know, it's not like, you know, but it's just being intentional about what I'm doing.
Exactly.
So,
Shannon, how did yours come out? I want to see the update on your.
Oh, well.
I want to
I
see
don't
where
know if
we're
you
putting
can-
this match. I want a picture of this one. Oh, look at
oh yeah,
that.
we should all hold them up. Wait.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, he's so cute.
He's kind of cute.
He is cute. I love him.
That's awesome.
I love him. He's very cute. I like that. I like that you made a dragon too. I love dragons. I feel like the dragon is is you. Like you keep breathing that fire out. Get out. Like you push it, you know, pushing it all out. Love it.
Burn, baby, burn.
Yes, exactly. Well, I appreciate both of you hanging out, and
Yes, this was fun.
good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I appreciate you jumping into the, I don't know what this is. I'll go pick some up and play with clay.
Right. I was so happy I found it. It was like the last bit thing at Michael's.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Everybody's playing with clay.
I guess so.
Yeah. I'm glad you found it. Yeah. And if you are watching this on replay and you have made a creation that you want to share, then, you know, drop in the Facebook group and show us your wonderful creation. I should have said at the beginning, you can use any clay. I was very non-professional today. I didn't go through any of my spiel at the beginning. So it is what it is, but I appreciate you all. And I'm going to go ahead and see you all next time.